Hey guys, what's up? So welcome back to the second part of a three-part series video where I kind of explained the series of events that led me into recovery. So if you haven't watched the first part of this video, I'm gonna be posting it up in the comments down below. So if you haven't watched that first, I encourage you to watch that part first before you head on to this part. So I left off with having run from these group of people after I saw the gun clip hit the floor, and I took that as an opportunity to book it out of there. So I ran and I found the first house that I could see, and I started knocking. I was knocking and knocking, and I was getting desperate because at any second these guys with guns could find me and just off me right there. So I got desperate and I just opened the door and closed it behind me, and I was hysterical. I was not okay. And then this poor woman is freaking out that I'm there. I just went into her home and she was with two little girls. And I feel so awful because imagine seeing this from the other side. Like, you're just at home and then this crazy person just walks into your home and screaming and on the floor. This could have been really bad. This woman could have shot me herself. I mean, I probably would. But she actually came to me and she tried to calm me down. She saw that I was obviously distressed and that I wasn't okay, and so she asked me, and all I could say was that these people are chasing me and they have guns, like, please call the police. Remember, I don't have my phone on because it had died hours and hours prior. So I was just trying to say these words, like, please just call the police, tell them to get here right away, but I couldn't even catch my breath. And so she goes to the phone and she's holding her two little girls who are obviously scared because they don't know what's going on. I don't think they comprehended much of what was going on. But she made the call, and I told her to just stay out of the windows because I didn't know if these people had seen me go into this house. And she was even looking out the windows, and then she looked like she saw them and she got scared. And she took her girls and then she put them in a room, and I told this woman, like, just stay down because I don't want these people to just start shooting up the house with this woman and these two little girls inside. I'm just trying to stay down, and the little girls are crying. The mom's trying to tell them, not, like, it's okay, don't be scared, it's okay. And then here, this whack job is, I'm like, yes, be scared, there's people out there with guns. And then the woman opens the door and she tells me to come outside, and I'm not ready to come outside because I'm scared the bad guys are out there. She opens the door and the police are outside, and they tell me, like, to walk out slowly and put my hands up in the air. And I let them know that I have a cell phone. I never let go of that stupid cell phone. I have my cell phone in my hand, and that's all it is. And once they saw that I was no threat, like, I just immediately collapsed on the floor and just became even more hysterical, bawling and just screaming. And I tried to explain to the best of my ability what was going on, but I wasn't making any sense. I was still all drugged up and full of adrenaline and just in a really, really bad state. And so I get in the cop car and then they just start asking me what happened, and I didn't tell them the whole story. I could have told them everything that happened, but I guess I was scared. And they didn't end up arresting me. They did take me to the station, so I was able to use one of the phones. And it kind of sucks, because I felt like they weren't really taking me seriously. So I did feel a little defeated at that point. So I ended up calling my mom and asked her to pick me up from this station, and I wasn't ready to tell her everything that happened. She doesn't know the whole story. But she came and picked me up, and she thought that I just had a crazy night partying like I had been doing for the past 11 years. That she didn't really ask questions, but I did tell her that I wasn't drunk. I was really, really high off of who knows what. And I saw her face, and it just broke her heart, which broke my heart to see how I was affecting her, the most important person in my life, and I just broke her heart. So I get into my mom's car, and at this point I'm still really, really paranoid, and I still felt like I was in danger. My mind made it seem like these people were still after me, and that they had seen me get into my mom's car from the police station, and that they were gonna follow me home to finish what they started. All I remember is I was sitting down on the back seat, and I collapsed again onto the floor of the car, screaming, 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 screaming. And I told my mom and her boyfriend at the time to call the cops again. Call the cops. I think they're chasing us. Mom, please duck your head. I think they're gonna shoot up the car. And I just literally lost it. My mom's boyfriend had to pull the car over, and I was screaming at him like, don't stop, keep going. Like, if we stay here, they're going to kill us. And I didn't feel safe. I was crouched down in fetal position on the floor of my mom's car, begging them to call the police and to have them escort us back home. But then my mom felt it better that maybe I should go to the hospital first. I was not okay. I couldn't stop screaming. I couldn't stop seeing things. At that point, I think I started hallucinating because I felt like I was seeing like laser lights, like lights from a sniper rifle or something. And so so my mom called the cops, and the cops ended up coming to where we were. And okay guys, so my battery died. I'm so sorry. But it was good because it was really late at night and I had to go to sleep, and I think I needed that night to sleep and this whole day to kind of think about what I'm doing right now. And because I was asking myself whether this was a wise choice to be putting this story out there, because it was really uncomfortable. But if you're seeing this now, then I obviously got the balls to go ahead and put it out there. So I was wondering whether I was doing the right thing. But after a night's sleep and just having this day to kind of think about it, I knew I was doing the right thing, because one, I'm uncomfortable posting this, and two, I'm making myself vulnerable putting this story out there. But when I'm uncomfortable and vulnerable, that's when I actually get to break through, and that's when my true healing and my true strength comes. So let's get back to the story. So once we got to the hospital, I was convinced that these bad guys still followed us to the hospital, or they knew that we were going to be heading there, and these people were gang related. So in my mind, I believed that they had called their people ahead of time and told them where we were going to be, like to get there before I did. And I literally believe that wholeheartedly. And so I was in the waiting room with the ER. I was with my mom and with one of the cops that had escorted us there. And the cop was telling me, he's like, I have to go. I can't stay here. I have to go. And I was pleading with him. I was begging him to not leave my side. Duh, he had to leave. He has better shit to deal with than some maniac. And then, like, I wasn't only just seeing things that weren't there, but I was hearing things that weren't there. And my mind had led me to believe that these people had called the police to tell them that I had drugs or that I had guns. Like, I even thought that they had called in a bomb threat. And so I started to believe that this situation had escalated to the point where a SWAT team had to come to the hospital to see whether I was armed or something. They weren't there. It's all things that I was imagining in my head that seemed very, very real. I was even hearing people in the waiting room coughing or sneezing, people that were actually sick. And I thought that that was SWAT team code or something for some maneuver as to how they were going to get inside my room. Oh god. They had moved me to a different, larger personal room. And so I go into this room and they just told me to try and relax, and I don't know, guys, like, I'm remembering it now, and just saying it, it sounds crazy, but I was crazy. I had literally lost my mind that day. That they had tried giving me some medications to try and be able to sleep so I could rest, because I was up for 24, 48 hours, I don't remember now. But I just couldn't sleep. And so that does something to your body, that does things to your mind, that lack of sleep, full of drugs and just all that adrenaline and just that whole experience of losing my mind, that did something really crazy psychotically. I started to hallucinate again. These hallucinations seemed, again, really, really real to me. And I remember I even looked up at the ceiling where they had circular holes where light bulbs or some light fixtures would fit in. But in my head, I felt that they were cameras and that they were monitoring me from there. And then the TV in my room, that it was actually, what are they, one-way mirrors or two-way mirrors, where people were behind it and they were observing me. And then I could still see across the hallway from my room into a different office or something. And then I saw these red beams of light, and that just triggered me again. I was like thinking that they're sniper rifles from the SWAT team or something, and that if I should move or I do something funny, that they were gonna shoot me or tranquilize me or something. But in my mind, it went to the worst, that they were just gonna shoot me right there. And I even just started seeing weird things. Like, I think I even saw the door to my room just get up and walk away. Like, I'm so grateful that I am not a paranoid schizophrenic, because I feel like that's what one of their episodes would feel like. And gosh, I hope that's not true, because it's terrible, it's horrifying, because it feels so real to you. I don't remember dreaming or anything, but I remember waking up and I was already attached to some IV fluids that they were vitamins, nutrients to try and keep me hydrated. I remember looking at my arm and seeing the IV, and then I turned to my side looking at the IV bag, and there was a brown paper bag over the clear plastic IV bag. And so, since I was still really in that psychosis, I felt that that the nurse was in cahoots with the bad guys, and that they were trying to poison me. Or that they were adding more drugs in there. I had the brilliant idea to just rip out the IV from my arm, and gosh, now that I'm remembering it, like, wow. And so, like, I felt like I was onto them, so I just ripped it out, and then I got up from the bed and just walked towards the nurse that was down the hall. And I wasn't walking, I was actually running. I was running because I was like, I have to get out of the hospital because they're in cahoots. This is probably some huge ass conspiracy and they want to get me killed. So I have to get out of here. And so I'm running down the hall, and blood running down my arm from the IV that I just pulled out of my left arm. And so I'm running, and then I saw the nurse that was tending to me, and I was yelling at her. I was like, I know what you're up to. Like, you don't have me fooled. I would like to see your supervisor or a policeman or... And then she just calmly looked at me and she's like, what did you do to your arm? I was like, I ripped it out because I know you're trying to poison me. And then she's like, oh. And then she immediately just starts typing on her computer, sending out an emergency email to all the staff in the hospital, probably saying like, this lunatic is running down the hallways with blood running down his arms. And so, like, I was like, I'm leaving. Like, I'm getting out of here. I'm not gonna die in this hospital. So I start leaving, and then so other doctors like step in and they told me like, you have to go back to your room. I'm like, I don't have to go anywhere. I know what you guys are up to. I know what's gonna happen. Security had to come in, and the security, they were trying to bargain with me. They were just pleading with me, actually, like, please just go back to your room and get some rest, like please. And I was just still convinced that these people were out to hurt me. They all just kind of looked at each other, and they looked at the security guards, and the next thing I know, they just scooped me right up. They just literally snatched me from right in front of them, and then just dragged me back into my room. They did that. And I obviously was just screaming, and I left them no choice. So now I understand why they did what they had to do. But at that time, at that point, I was still in my psychosis, so I thought that they did that because they were going to hurt me. So they dragged me back to my room, and I was kicking and screaming, and they put me on my bed, and they actually restrained me. And they were telling me, like, this is... like, we have no choice, you're out of control, we have to restrain you. And so they did. They restrained my legs, and they bound my arms to the bed. It sounds crazy, and now I'm thinking about it, it's like, but that actually did happen. This wasn't in my psychosis. Like, they actually did snatched me up and tied me down to my bed. And I swear I heard one of them say, "We have to shoot him. We have to shoot him." But in reality, they said we have to give him a shot. And so they took out this thing. It was just like a tranquilizer. And then I was screaming, like pleading, like, "Please don't do this, like I want to live." So I thought that they were going to give me a tranquilizer and that they were going to strangle me or something in my sleep. And because I even told them, I know your plan. I know you're going to tranquilize me and you're gonna kill me and then you're gonna make it look like a suicide and you're gonna get away with it. And I was here like a crazy person, just trying to get out of my restraints, pleading with them like to not kill me. But they gave me the shot and then I fell asleep. I woke up the next morning and the restraints were gone. And then the poor nurse that had to see the worst of everything came into my room, and then she told me, like, "You understand why we had to restrain you? Like, you kind of just lost control." And so my sister came to the hospital to see me, and she was really, really worried. But that's when they had given me the option to go into treatment. I'm not gonna lie, at first I was scared, but I felt that if I went into treatment, that maybe they could keep me safe until everything blows over or the cops find these people or something. I wasn't really expecting anything. I didn't know what was going to happen in this rehab or what I had just gotten myself into. I think I was just still really shaken up with everything that had just happened. And like one minute I was in the hospital, and then the next thing I know I'm in my sister's car and I'm looking out the window and I'm on my way to the rehab. Alright guys, so I think I'm gonna stop here. And then I'm going to upload the next part of the video, which is my experience in that rehab facility. So it's still going to be a little crazy, but it has a good ending, obviously. It's gonna have a good ending. I wouldn't want to be telling you guys these stories if it didn't have something positive at the end. So thank you guys so much for watching and stay tuned for the last part.